Hello, Gun Nation. How's everyone doing this evening? We will do a roll call here in just a second. Sorry, I saw some people saying hello, and I'm going to say hello to y'all, but I had to run and grab a drink real quick. It's been a busy day, and I got a whole mess of notes to go over with y'all. So, gun stuff, other stuff. So, we're going to get into it, but hope everyone is doing well. Sorry I missed last week. I was in Portland, Oregon, and that was a whole deal. We'll talk about that as well. That's why I said it's been a wild one. So I'll give you the heads up on that. But we got Scott, Lakeview Outdoors, and Fina is saying, hello, did you receive my message about FPC and GOA brace rule? Fina, I didn't get an email. I don't know where you left the message. Um, if you left it in a video, I usually get all those. So I don't know where you left the message, but I am familiar with FPC and the GOA brace rule for Texas. But, it is what it is. We got Palindrome Pictures, Lynn Holt, Dennis Buckner's in the house, Brian DeShane, Pistol Pete. Yes, I'm hot too. Clyde Cumberland, how are you? The People's Republic of Portland, yay. Yeah, we'll get into that. Yes, actually, man, the temperature here has just been insane, and I'm sure in other areas it is too. I know Phoenix and stuff, but yeah, it's man, it's been like 108. I mean, that's what it shows, and it doesn't change. Like, it'll go down to 104, 106, 107 in the car. Um, and then with our outside temperature, it's saying feels like 110, 112, all this crazy stuff. It has been freaking hot. Hello, Bald and Curious. How are you? Hello, CeeLo. Um, hello, David Wilcott. Let me clear these real quick. What was the brace rule in Texas? GOA has a deal because when they sued for all of this stuff, they made Texas, GOA and FPC made Texas citizens listed in there. So supposedly it doesn't affect Texas citizens, but here's where I'm going with this. I know all that, they put it in there and all that, but you know, are you going to run to the range with braces and do all that other stuff in Texas? It's probably not going to be a big deal, but there's always that one person that could be trying to be a hero, with ATF or whomever. Um, so do you really want to mess with it until it gets sorted out? I don't know. It is what it is. Um, you know, so they were saying FPC and GOA were like, if you're a Texas resident, the whole state of Texas is under that policy. But I'm not a lawyer, so don't take any of that. Just take it with a grain of salt. Lynn, it's been that hot, gosh, for man, it's been over 100 for it seems like 2 weeks, but I don't know. I mean, there could have been a day where it was 99, but it's freaking hot. Good thing, put it this way, work, I've been wearing golf shirts and shorts, and my Hey Dudes. I've been wearing those for, gosh, about 2 weeks now, even to work and stuff, so it's not a big deal. Hello, Alaskan Ballistics. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Gary, how are you? And Chris from the 740. Yeah, Sig Sauer 716 tread or Ruger SFR. They both have 16-inch barrel. Man, on that one, the SFAR has been having a lot of issues. Like Trigger Bar Philosopher, he's had some issues with his. He's not the only one. I haven't really heard of any issues with the SIG, so I don't know. Um, Out of those two, though, with what I've seen, hell, I'd go with the SIG. But if I had to pick one, but you know, yeah, I know Ruger has, but Ruger definitely has better customer service. SIG hates me. They hate me with a passion. But do you want to keep sending it back? And because I think a couple of people have sent theirs back like twice, so I don't know. Like I said, I don't own either of those, so I'm not sure. Yep, Lynn, we've definitely had those, so it definitely gets hot. Well, let's just go ahead and knock out the Portland thing. In Portland, I flew into Portland and I was working. I didn't really work the Portland area. I was in Portland Sunday night with the team, dinner, all of that stuff. And then I had a person with me. I was the leader, team leader, whatever you call it. So we went out like to Salem, uh, what were all those towns? It's like 2.5 hours outside of Portland. That area was really nice. I mean, you saw the hills, we saw beautiful trees and all that good kind of stuff. But man, the drug problem out there is insane. We went into a convenience store just to grab some drinks, and there was a chair in the back of a convenience store, and the guy was hunched over. And when I backed in, and I was looking at him, and I was like, he's not moving. I mean, he wasn't moving his fingers. He wasn't doing anything. He just looked like a zombie, just flopped over in that chair. And I went in and I was talking to the convenience store owner, and I was like, man, there's some dude back behind your store just slumped over in a chair. And anyway, he said, really? And I said, yeah. And so he said, well, I'll send him one of my guys. So his guy went out there to check on the guy and was shaking him. And apparently, and so he had just shot up. And he's like, oh, yeah, he's out there shooting or just shot up. And there's a needle on the ground, but he is breathing. And I'm just like, holy crap. So we did see some of that stuff. It was not good. Um, you know, I don't know. Uh, but anyway, so, and we saw other stuff. We were going down a back road because we went to a bar and a restaurant, and it's out actually on, right there on the bay or whatever you want to call it, in a boat dock. And there's just rows and rows and rows and rows of broken down cars people are living in, tent cities, broken down RVs, makeshift things out of cardboard and plywood. I mean, it's like a whole village out there. I filmed it because I was just like, man, I've just never, it looked literally like a third world country. And I've just never seen that. But I was like, I'm not going to post that because, they are human beings. A lot of people have mental issues, things like that. I just didn't think it would be appropriate, but it's really sad. I mean, people chasing people around like, crazies chasing crazies. We saw that. I thought they were going to fight. One of them was running around with like this little makeshift shiv. So I don't know if somebody stole something from him or what, but I mean, it's crazy out there. So, and then in Portland in the city, it's a nightmare. So we stayed farther to the airport, not downtown. So, you know, I remember it from like 7 or 8 years ago. I went there and it was bad, but it wasn't this bad. I mean, it's way worse now. So it is what it is. Oh, I did get the email from GOA about Chuck Schumer. Yeah. Let's see here. I was asking about the brace rule and how being in the FPC and GOA help us. Are we legal or should we not use them? I asked because today I was at a gun store and they were wanting nothing to do with braces. Yeah, I mean, we have it posted here, nothing to do with braces. But like I was saying before, what they were saying is when they filed the lawsuit, they included the state of Texas. So if you include the state of Texas, anybody who lives in the state of Texas, even if you're not an FP or GOA member or FPC member, if you live in the state of Texas, you're supposedly covered. But the way I look at it is, am I going to be the guinea pig running around with this, and somebody just wants to be the Dudley Do Right of the ATF and try to make an example out of me or whomever? There could be one of those. I've heard from uh, I've heard from the governor. I've heard from a lot of people saying they're not going to uphold it. They're not going to go around with the ATF and do that. However, the ATF can kind of do what they want. They're probably going to pick on more blue states, I would assume, than come to Texas and try to deal with that or other free states. But like I said, there's always a hero or somebody trying to be a hero in every bunch. So who knows? Yeah, I was going to talk about that too. I'm hoping. Tell us, Ryan, saying, tell us what you really think about Hunter Biden's plea deal falling apart, and he's probably going to trial. Yeah, good. He needs to. All this, you know, holier than thou. I mean, if it were any of us, we would be thrown in the jail, and the key, or buried under the jail, and the keys would be thrown away. So, you know, yeah, he needs, and also the white powder that was left in there. We know where that's from. Hello, reloading from the hot pot. How are you? Yeah, well, we were actually out in the Salem, and all that, Eugene, all that area out there. And there's a lot of people out there. I mean, we were talking to a lot of people out there that are super conservative. And they were saying, man, we don't even go into Portland, like the Portland area. They stay away from it like the plague. So we talked to several business owners out there, and a lot of them are really cool. A lot of them are gun toters, stuff like that. Portland is just a different breed. They kind of look at it as the third world country, like what I said. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Scott. There's always a Dudley, not, I'm sorry, shouldn't say Dudley do right because he tried to always do good, but there's always a bad apple everywhere that's going to try to be like, I'm going to be the shining star of the ATF, and, do whatever they want to do. Yep, war on drugs. Exactly, Scott. Yep. I was thinking that just the other day. They just keep sending and sending and sending and sending. Yep. Hmm, hmm, hmm. No, any modern 308, David, any modern 308 can shoot 308 or 7.62 by 51. So, they're all chambered for that. So you're good either way. I mean, on all of mine, I shoot 7.62 by 51 or 308. So not a big deal there. Yeah, and since we're speaking about politics, did you see Mitch McConnell in his speech? He was getting up there and talking, and then all of a sudden he just literally froze. He was talking, and he's like, and I mean, he had his hands on the podium, and his mouth was open, and they did a countdown, and it was literally like 12 or 13 seconds. I mean, he was just frozen, and a guy had to come up and go, Chuck, are you done talking? I mean, I'm not Chuck. I'm sorry. Mitch, are you done talking? And he was like, he kind of looked around like, where the hell am I? And then they had to escort him off the stage. They had to like walk him away. And he was walking like he didn't know where he was. Seems like a lot of that is happening. I mean, with Mitch, because he's old as hell. JB, Brandon, he's old as hell, doesn't know where the hell he is. You know, what is it with all these father times? I mean, I'm not a young spring chicken, but when you're talking about term limits for people who kind of can push the buttons and do everything, uh, something's not right, you know. So I'm not trying to pick on the elderly. If anything, it's elder abuse that their families allow them to continue to do that. Tonight we have some bullet bourbon. I haven't had bourbon in quite a while. When I was in Portland, the guy that I was with, he loved, God, what is it called? It's a special beer that I guess is a German beer that they really sell a lot of there. And I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I really liked it. So we pretty much in the evenings sometimes would drink beer. So yeah, I don't know if the jab got him or if he was literally having a mini stroke. It was pretty bad though. Yeah, the UFO was programming his brain. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, oh, is this reptilian falling apart? But it was bad. What's up, Red Menace? How are you? DC is asking, excuse me, how I feel about ACOGs. ACOGs definitely have their place. They're pretty much indestructible. Um, I don't own any. Not saying they're bad. I just don't own any. I've shot with some before. I mean, you can get them with the fiber optics, and hell, they're so damn bright. You got to tape half the fiber optic off because they're so freaking bright. Um, I mean, they work. They serve their purpose. Um, and like I said, you can literally throw them off a building, and I mean, they don't break. I know that people have broken them, but it's not common like it is with some other red dots. If that's what you're into and that's what fits your need, by all means, get one. I mean, they have proven the test of time. So, our now today with everything that we have, we've got LPVOs. You can put a red dot on the side. However, some of the ACOGs are super light compared to a scope mount, and the freaking red dot, and all that other shit. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with ACOGs. It's just finding the right one. There's so many different ones. Just finding the right one that works for you. I agree, Brian. Yes, he is. Both of them are. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I hope he got some medical attention because he was needing it. I mean, I've seen a person like physically in front of me that had a mini stroke, and that's what it looked like to me. I'm not a doctor, but I was like, whoa, I think, I mean, if we would have seen like eyes sagging and stuff like that, it would have definitely, we would have all known it. But, he was still walking on his own power, and sometimes you'll, paralyze from the left or the right or lose your hand, and both of his hands were moving when he was walking off. So I don't know. Let's see here. Hello, A Dubs. How are you? I'm gonna try to butter. Yeah, cram mount. Yeah, the eye relief is very short on them. I mean, and that Scott brings up a point, and I was actually going to say that. I've got the micro prisms and the regular prisms on some of mine from Primary Arms, and I actually really like them for the price. And I've got the 193 mount because it comes with a ton of mounts. I've got the 193 mount, and it's actually very clear, illuminated pretty well. It's not really truly daylight bright, but it gets pretty damn bright. And I like mine. I mean, they work well. So, and it saves you a ton of money. And it takes the micro mini mounts and stuff like that. If you want to use a quick release mount or something like that, it's very compatible with most of them. But for the money, it's really hard to beat one of the Primary Arms. So I do agree with Scott. And I've got videos on them. I think I've got like four of them and four different versions, and they work really well. Yeah, it's a fixed ACOGs are fixed magnification, but you can see they've got different, apertures, for like, or not different apertures. They've got different distance, kind of like the Primary Arms does as well. That's what I was thinking, Dennis. So it was pretty crazy. But I've got a whole bunch of information I want to get through. I don't know if y'all saw this. Did you see? And I'm I just because I played football for more than half my life, or half my life, I guess. Uh, or I guess I shouldn't say half. More than a quarter of my life. And I love football. College football is my favorite, but of course I watch the NFL too. Not a fan of what they were doing in the past, but I do like the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the Cowboys. I like Patrick Mahomes, from Lubbock, or went to Texas Tech. He Travis Kelsey did a Bud Light commercial. I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? Uh, so yeah, he's getting roasted, and he should get roasted. Um, so he did that, but it is what it is. Let's see. Also, anybody that's looking for a CZ-P10C, Palmetto State Armory, and it's today only. These are the non-optic version, so they're non-optic ready. They're selling them for $299.99. CZ-P10C non-optic ready, today only. And then Botac is also selling the CZ-P10C non-optic ready for $299 also. So there's two places you can get those. I don't know if Botac's going to continue, but Primary Arms is today only. or I'm sorry, Palmetto State. Palmetto State is today only. And I mean, that's a hell of a deal on a great pistol. It's just not optic ready, but hell, you could mill it, um, for like 75 bucks at most places for whatever optic you choose. So there's an option if y'all are wanting those. Also, I had a customer, or not a customer. I've been asked this a couple of times, and I've got videos on it, but I wanted to tell you my opinion. I was asked CZP07 or CZP09. Which one do I prefer the most? And I have XXL hands, so that's why this person was asking. And out of the CZP07 and the CZP09, and y'all have to remember, I've got two P07s and two P09s. One P07 and one P09 are customized. So they're milled for optics, Cerakoted, all that good stuff, tricked out. Out of the P07 and P09, out of those two, I can shoot both of them fine, but I honestly prefer the P07. Don't know why. I just prefer it better. And I do run extensions on mine, plus twos or a plus five. And I carry them. I've done all that. They work great. But in those two, I prefer the P07. Then I was asked the P10C or the P10F. Which one? And the way that I base that is I love both of those guns, the P10C and the P10F. I love both of them. I shoot both of them great. So there's no issues there. It depends on what you're going to use it for. If you're going to use it for like a SHTF gun or a home defense gun, or if I'm going to carry into an area that's really shady, I'll carry the P10F just because of capacity. And I can carry both because I'm a big guy. Some people, the P10F is too big or they think it's too big because of the grip length. So, but on those, man, I would, if I had to pick, I'd probably say the P10C because I do carry it the most between the two. But if I'm running a battle belt and all of that other stuff, or for competition or whatever, I would choose the P10F in that situation. So I'm just trying to get all of these knocked out real quick. Also, I don't know if y'all have paid attention. A lot of people haven't. Today, they had the first congressional subcommittee hearing for UFOs and UAPs. First time. So, and some stuff came out of that. You can look at Sean Ryan. I don't know if anybody watches the Sean Ryan show. I actually really enjoy his podcast or his videos where you can watch him and his guest. He comes up with some really interesting topics, like UFOs, UAPs, um, child. I can't even say the word because I'll get in trouble, but you know what I'm talking about. Uh, Bad people on the internet. We'll just leave it at that. Fraudsters. He interviews some really great people, ex-military, things like that. So, what's y'all's opinion on UFOs and UAPs? Do you think they're real, or are you like, no, that stuff's not real? And the only reason I ask that, I've seen some really, really weird stuff. I've talked to a lot of pilots. If y'all remember, I was an A&P. I mean, I still am, airframe and power plant. So I've got the license for it and everything. So I used to talk to a lot of pilots, military pilots, because I worked on some military aircraft and civilian commercial pilots for Lear jets, 727s, 37s, United, American, Southwest. And they've told me some pretty crazy things they've seen. And then I have personally seen stuff that's just weird. As y'all know, I travel to El Paso a lot, out there in the freaking wood or, the desert. And I've seen some very strange stuff. And I'm like, am I seeing this? Right? So I don't know. And I keep thinking, man, there's got to be something out there, but I've never seen the little green man running around, so I don't know. But I would love to hear y'all's opinion. If you believe in them or not, if it's a hoax, if it's whatever. But also look at this. There's some stuff out there, and I'll just say this. and I think I've said this story before, the SR-71 Blackbird. That is a incredible, incredible aircraft. It's one of the fastest ever made. And I've actually seen it thrust. I mean, in person. I've seen it take off. I've seen it pop the sound barrier. Literally, I was on the tarmac and boom! I mean, that thing hit, and I mean, it shook the ground. So it's an incredible aircraft. Um, and they retired it a long ass time ago. And that was one of the fastest aircrafts ever made. So, we've got stealth fighter, stealth bomber, stuff like that. They're just not as fast as the SR-71 was. So, if we retire something like that, what else do we have? We got something that we don't know about. So, I'll just leave it at that. Some of the stories I've heard, pilots, and I know some of these guys personally, I knew them for years. They had no reason to lie to me, and they would tell me some pretty weird stuff. So, and one of the pilots I knew was from the SR-71 Blackbird. And, I asked him, okay, Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3. And he was like, yes, 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 Mach 4, yeah, yeah, no. And then I kept asking, and he couldn't tell me anymore because a lot of that's classified. So that just shows how fast that aircraft is or was. So, it is what it is. That's what I'm trying to say, Scott. If they retire it and it's the fastest one, public knowledge, why would you retire something that's the fastest if you don't have something better? We're bigger, better, all that other stuff. We're not going to retire something if it's the best in the world. Why would you do that? So let me catch up on this real quick. I'm going to see if y'all have let me try to catch back up. I'm sorry. P10C and 45 is cool, Dennis. If you could find one, since they already discontinued them, so I'd say grab it if you could get one. Yeah, and also I did forget to say this. Palmetto State Armory also has the Shadow 2 Blue, which is the blue grips are supposedly a higher model. They have it on sale for $929.99. Yo, okay. Scott said that. Yeah, I forgot to say that, Scott. I had it written down here. Yes. Yes. Scott, that's on my list too. Yep. I don't know if I cannot stand crybaby LeBron. I cannot stand him. But in this kind of situation with your own kid, I don't wish any ill will on any family because that's scary as shit. I wish, him a speedy recovery, but the kid is an athlete. If you've ever watched him, he is a freaking athlete. I mean, the kid was like monster dunking in high school. Um, and yeah, if you go back and watch, LB announced him and his whole entire family got that. They all got it. He announced it, and everybody else should get it. He did a big public announcement. So, and then this happens. So, man, and he was, he's going to be an NBA star and all this other stuff. So, has this ruined his career? Because knowing if I owned a team, knowing that he's already had that issue, I don't want to be liable for him having another one. So, but yes, I saw that. Not good. All right, trying to catch up. Brian, yeah, the the Shadow Twos are hammer fired. Oh yeah, I don't know if y'all know this. Yes, Red Menace. Trigicon is finally coming out with a new RMR. It's a cross between the RMR and the SRO. The window's still not as huge as a lot of them, but made in America, all that good stuff. If you're a huge Trigicon fan, I like the SRO a lot. I have plenty of them. I personally had only one issue with one. Took it out of the safe. Instead of the dot being here, it was shot up. It had a reticle displacement, and they did replace it for free. So it was still under warranty, so they did replace it. Pranic said, I heard about all the UFO stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. What's everyone's thoughts on Springfield Echelon? I mean, to me, it is just another polymer striker fire gun. It's got some features on it that I think are, probably pretty good. Am I going to buy one? No. I know people that have them and they like them. They said they run really well. It does have the removable fire control unit like the 320s, which is a feature. You can change different grips. That's cool. Uh, but to me, is it earth shattering? No. It's another polymer option if that's what you're looking for. Brian is saying the Sean Ryan shows are amazing. Yes, I really like them too. Sometimes I listen to them when I'm driving, if I've got a long drive. Bald and Curious saying UFOs are 100% real. David is 50-50 on aliens. Oh, crap. I don't, this stupid thing. If I get an alert, I try to delete it, and sometimes it clicks over on it. Have you gotten a 507 comp yet? I will be getting one. I did look at one. Texas Gun Experience had one. They actually have them for sale. I, checked it out, looked at it. It's a huge window, man. That window is monstrous. And of course, it's square versus the SRO. It kind of reminds me of an SRO, but a square version. So I think it's going to be a very good option. It's got different reticles. You'll probably know that already. I kind of played around with the reticles and looked at them. There's some of them I'm like, I would never use these reticles in some of the options. Some I would. But was it enough for me to buy one? I could have bought it. I was sitting there holding it, looking at it. Could have bought it, and I was like, not not that anything's wrong with it. I was just like, do I need it? No. So personally, I didn't. But I think a lot of people are really going to like it. Palindrome has said he's also seen a UFO. I've seen some very weird stuff. And remember, I was in aviation. So you've got thrust. Well, I'm not going to say the term because we do have ladies on here, but propulsion and thrust is designed a certain way. And planes, helicopters can go up and down, forward. They really can't go backwards. There are some planes that can that we have. And they can actually we have planes where the wings can turn and they'll actually lift straight up like a helicopter. But when you see stuff that's like, doing this and you're like, what the hell is that? It's just not normal for a normal aircraft. They just don't fly like that. And you'll see it and all of a sudden, and it's just a beam of light flying, and then it'll turn off. Then all of a sudden you'll see the beam somewhere else, and then it moves. I mean, I've just seen some weird stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I want to say something's out there, but I haven't seen a little green man running around in my backyard, so I don't know. Yeah, and I don't trust what the government says. Never have. And when I talk to the pilots, and that's another thing, Pranic, exactly what you're saying. When I talked physically to these pilots that I've known for years, and I ask them, have you seen anything? And they're like, yep. I'm thinking, okay. Matter of fact, one of them said one was literally following their plane and was right there. They looked out the window and could see it. And I'm like, what the hell? And he gave a pretty weird description. Couldn't see the people, the little aliens inside, but he could see what they were in, and he was like, it's not normal. So yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And even today, they announced today that they have a downed aircraft of not from here, and they actually had remains that are not from here. So they actually came out and said it today. So, and I keep thinking, are they kind of saying, are they letting this stuff out of the bag now? So all of a sudden, if we start seeing them or whatever, and there's a difference between UFOs and UAPs, you know, like if we found one and, as a mechanic, ex-mechanic technician, I know this, if I had something, you could reverse engineer it. Like if you found a device or something and knew how it worked and figured out how it worked, you could reverse engineer it. You can make your own. So I believe we have military versions of what we've found or captured or whatever, and probably made some of these things that we're testing out and flying around in. So, you know, I'm not I'm not naive, I'm not dumb, but I don't want y'all to think I'm some whack job either. Don't Please don't think that. Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. Yeah. And also, if you checked on it, Brody James is not the first one at USC to drop this season. They already had one guy fall out on the team as well, so that's two of them at the same university. 1301 tactical is legit. It's a legit shotgun. I have not, Thina. I wanted to. I have seen them in person, but they were brand new. Um, but I've wanted to shoot one and I have not been able to. Now I've been invited to shoot one. It's just I couldn't get to Alabama to do it because that's where the pistol was. Yeah, they've had a version of that also, of the Shadow 2 Compact. CZ Custom made it quite a while ago. But it was the old version. It wasn't the like the Shadow 2 official frame. So that would be awesome. And it's still frame PO7. That would be awesome. That might be a pistol that I would buy if it was alloy and not heavy steel. I would probably buy one. And depending on how the trigger came out, what would be awesome is to have a Shadow 2. Well, think about it this way: the DWX Compact is going to be a single action. Basically, kind of what you're describing in a way. It would be like a mini Shadow 2. It's just the only thing is I would have to put my hand on it because without a plus two, they're too short. So when I change the grip, that's one reason I don't have a PO1 anymore, because when I would change the grip, my hand stuck, this meat stuck way past the end of the grip. Oh, Scott, man, you and I, yep. And your boy, did you see your ATF boy that was running for the head of ATF director standing on the mound with his rifle? Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say the name, but you know who I'm talking about. Yep, I've seen those too. And the little round ones that were chasing a plane, that's kind of weird too. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Red Menace. That little orb that lady filmed, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, Rich B, the new Smith& Wesson Magnum, and I had that written down here. I know that Scott from the 740 has one, and it does look like a really cool little pistol. I don't think he loaded it all the way up, with all of the rounds. I watched his video and I think he like loaded 15 or 20 or something like that was the max he put in it. But he said it was very, very hard to load. Um, and he had, a few hiccups, but you got to remember it's rim fire. It's not center fire. So if you want something that's more reliable, definitely the 5.7 would be because it's center fire. Anything that's rim fire, you can have some issues sometimes. So I don't know. I don't know. And that's exactly what I was telling a buddy of mine, Brian. I was like, yep, that's why it's coming out now because they want to distract. Remember, smoke screens. Everything's a smoke screen. Sweet Home Alabama is an awesome song. But yes, I agree with you. SDP was awesome. Yeah. Next to a lizard person. Yeah. On the plane, and she got off and all that stuff. That was weird. What's the ideal magnification for a 308? It really depends on your distance, Clyde. Um, 1 to 10 is good, and it depends on the distance. And I get asked this question all the time, like, what scope should I put on this or this or this? I always say, what's the farthest you think you're going to shoot? If you got a range of 1,000 yards, I mean, a 308's like this at 1,000 yards, you're going to be lobbing it in there. But what's the farthest you think you're going to realistically shoot a 308? It's not like a 338 Lapua or something where you can really crank it out there. Um, if you could see, depending on your vision also, if you could see 700 or 800 yards in a 1 to 10, get a 1 to 10. I personally, my eyes aren't that great. So I might want to, I also have a little more magnification. We talked about that on another chat in the past, but I would prefer a little more than a 1 to 10. You could even go like a 4 to a whatever, or a 3 to a whatever, but I kind of always like to have a little more magnification than I'll need because it's an identifier. If a guy's holding a cell phone or a gun or a pack of cards or whatever, I want to really be able to PDI that guy, or whatever from a distance. I'm not saying you have to see what color his eyes are, but, I don't think there's anything wrong with having more magnification than you might need. And yeah, like Palindrome, is saying, I mean, you could put a 1 to 8 on it. It just depends on, what your distance is going to be. That's really what it all comes down to is distance. So there's, to say ideal, that's going to vary because some people are like, man, my max range is 400 yards. So, 1 to 8 would be fine. Okay, let's knock these out. Also, I noticed this Nissan Altima, my company car that I've been driving, I've talked about. Man, it has a really lag in the TPS sensor. If y'all don't know what that is, throttle positioning sensor. So when you press the gas pedal, it's where it engages. Now, granted, it is a 4-cylinder, so it's not the 3.5. It's the newer whatever 4-banger. So it's going to lag in power anyway. But man, the throttle positioning sensor is trash on this car. The car is nice, rides great, and all that other stuff. But when you're at a dead stop and you go to accelerate, it has a shitload of lag. Like some of the old turbo cars, you would call it turbo lag. This has a lot of delay in the throttle positioning sensor. So, I'm going to check with Nissan and see if there's an updated flash that'll fix that. Because what you can do is go in and reprogram the computer, and it'll actually take that lag, that stall out, to where it'll engage the throttle positioning sensor farther back, so you'll have more response. So I'm going to see if there's a flash for it. A lot of the flashes are covered like 8 years, 80,000 miles with a reflash or a PCM update. So I'm going to see if that's available. But if not, and if y'all own a 4-cylinder Nissan Altima, and you have that problem, you could chime in. But man, it's got a just a horrible lag, and it drives me crazy. It doesn't burn oil, but whatever. Yeah, yeah, throttle positioning sensor. Yeah, and I haven't noticed any transmission issues. It's just that lag. I mean, so far. I know they used to be pretty hard on CV joints and stuff like that, but that was on the older ones. I don't know about the newer ones. Let's see here. Also, already did that one. I did want to, because I don't know, I can't remember if the person might be on this chat, but they asked this. Someone asked me about pellet grills, and y'all know I have a barbecue channel. I'm trying to kind of keep these separated, but I have a lot of people ask, and I think I saw the person on here, if I'm not mistaken. What do I think about pellet grills? Pellet grills are not bad. They're built or made for a person that just wants to program it and just let it go. I mean, you can even get on your phone and control them. You can say, hey, I want to do an 8-hour cook at 275 degrees, blah, blah, blah. It'll just do everything for you as long as the hopper's full of pellets and, it's kind of self sufficient. However, I'm not a huge pellet grill fan because some of them don't produce enough smoke. The cheaper ones, the auger motors, go bad. So when you fill them up, the augers will bind up and then it'll burn the motors up in the augers. And then also where it goes down and fires in the chamber, you'll have ash in there and people let it build up where you should dump it. People forget to dump it and then you'll have an ash fire and it can basically backfire. I've seen some of them blow the door off the grill. So you don't want to keep it near your door because it could literally blow the door off the grill or blow it up. So you can have an internal chamber fire. Also, they suck at searing. Now, there's some of them that have a plate you can move and put your steak right over it and sear it. Some of those are a half-ass attempt at searing, unless you spend the money and you buy a high-end grill like a Pits and Spits. They have an awesome, a legit pellet grill. Lone Star Grills, and it's GRILLZ. They're out of Texas. They make one where all of the components, the auger, the module, your motherboard, everything is made in the United States. Those are legit, but you're going to spend like $3,500 for them for a pellet grill. So, and also they just don't produce enough smoke. So when you want the smoke in your meat, like they'll smoke, but there's a difference between charcoal and wood and then pellets. You can only get so much smoke out of a pellet. And also if you use a pellet grill, I highly recommend mixing half your pellets with half wood chips. I've had several buddies who have pellet grills and they're like, look, it just doesn't smoke, with all kinds of different pellets, all different brands. And I agree. But when you mix 50-50 with pellets and wood chips, and you can get them made for the pellet size, a lot of companies will sell them. So you mix 50-50 and you will produce some smoke, but it's still, if you're trying to get bark and stuff like that on brisket, you just won't get the bark that you will on an offset or hell, even, a regular grill. So that's my little take on that. Also, what do I recommend if you're new to grilling or new to smoking or new to barbecuing? If I had to pick one, what would it be that won't break the bank, that's very user friendly? And I will always say this, I recommend the Weber kettle. You can get a plain Jane one, a small one, for like $110. And then you can get the deluxe, you can get all these different ones, up to $500, where it gives you more of a table, or they have the fold down table version for like $349. That's probably the best one. I think it's called the Premier. It's just a smaller table. I have the big one. So you have your grill, the big table, and you got your charcoal holder underneath, and you got a propane igniter. I don't use it. I use a chimney. But I like the feature of having the bigger table. It's just more money. So I highly, highly recommend the Weber kettle because you can grill, you can smoke, you can sear, you can do whatever you want on it. I've cooked brisket on them. I've smoked brisket on them. If you do your charcoal correctly, I've gotten like 11-hour smokes out of them, pork butt, brisket. The only thing is, not like a big offset smoker like I have in my dad's house. You can put monster briskets on it. You've got to get a brisket and trim it so it'll fit on your kettle, whatever size you get. So, and big green eggs are good too, but I'm saying budget friendly because, I have a family member who has a big green egg, and I've ran Weber's, made the same stuff, and it comes out perfect, even on a Weber, and they're like a quarter of the price. So on a budget. Also, big green eggs are heavy as hell. They're cumbersome to move around. You can move around a Weber. Hell, I could throw it in the back of my truck and take it somewhere to cook with it. You don't want to do that with a big green egg. I'm not knocking big green egg. I'm really not. They're great. Ceramic, cookers are awesome. They really hold a lot of heat. But y'all have seen on videos, if you watch my cooking channel or my smoking channel, whatever you want to call it, Big J's Pit Stop, I've cranked. I mean, I pulled 700 degrees out of my Weber plus 725, and you can do the same with a big green egg. Hell, you can get a big green egg up to like 900 degrees if you want to. So, I'm just a big Weber fan. I've had them in the past. They are also, all of your Webers are made in the United States. So I think they're made in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. So everything's made in the United States, where a lot of these other grills are not. They're made in China. So something else to think about. If that interests you. If not, I'll get off of it. It's not a big deal. Um, yeah, I have seen that, David, and it's got cables and stuff that work that, and I'm like, could that break? Is it going to break? Could it come loose? I mean, anything's a possibility. I was thinking, man, that's really cool at first, but then I was like, I don't know. I mean, to be able to shift on the fly like that for like competition or something like that, man, or hog hunting, if you've got tons of hogs, I could see that as a big benefit. But it's not cheap. Oh my gosh. No, I haven't seen that, Brian. I did not see that one, but it doesn't surprise me. Yes, they do. Red Menace, I had a family member that happened to. They got it way, way too hot and didn't have the vents working correctly to kind of cool it down, and they actually shattered it because they got it way too hot. They had a full blown fire going in that thing. But Papa uses propane. Yeah, I've had propane grills in the past. I'm just not a big propane fan. Not, if that's what you like to do, they're quick and easy, but you can taste, well, maybe not everybody, but if you've done true barbecuing for a long time, you can taste the propane over time. Why were there cats in the middle of the freeway? Oh, Rich B. Yeah, here you are. I thought you were on there. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I'm not saying that all pellet grills will do that. The Pit Boss, I have a buddy who had a Pit Boss. His did it. Yeah, it blew the whole door off of it. Or not a Pit Boss. I'm sorry. No, it was a Pit Boss, but it wasn't the stand-up kind. It was the square. It wasn't the tall vertical one. It was the square one. Oh, I had a cook knock over one while he was cleaning it. Oh, damn. That's not cheap. Yeah, coming out of his check, I bet. Have you seen the new gimmicky AR trigger that you rock back and forth? That's supposed to be like $100. Scott, I have not, or maybe I have, and I just didn't realize it. I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar though. I mean, there's a lot of gimmicks out there. I don't buy gimmicks. Hey, what's up, Floridian? How are you, man? I look at it this way, Peladrone. He can say what he wants to say. If for some reason I have a gas stove in my house, I do not like electric stoves. I'm a gas guy. In the house, all of that. You can control the temp. If you talk to any cook, like a cook, that's why restaurants have gas. Um, Not saying you can't cook on an induction, not saying you can't cook on electric. It's just you can control your heat temperature so much better, even your pans, the heat in your pans by gas. So if he outlaws that, I'll start cooking in my backyard. I don't care what he says. Propane and propane accessories. Yeah, and if you're cooking steaks and burgers and stuff like that, if you if you've been barbecuing like offsets or charcoal or wood chunks or lump charcoal or whatever, and you've been doing that all your life, and then you do a propane, and I owned one. I just actually sold it probably like 2 months ago. I never even showed it, but I had a big old monster stainless propane grill that I had. It was a gift, and I just really never used it because it made the meat taste, because I'm an old school guy, and it just made the meat taste funny to me. Oh, like a paintball trigger for an AR. No, I've shot paintballs and some of those airsoft crazy triggers. I haven't seen that one for the AR, the binary triggers. Yeah, if it's a binary, I screw binary crap. Yeah, that's the way I was shooting that airsoft and that paintball. I was shooting with my middle finger, and you could shred with that thing. Yeah, I'm sure it probably is. Man, I just don't see how that would be. I just don't see how that'd be super reliable, though. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know. Uh, and I do want to say this. Y'all know that I love shooting. Been shooting most of my life. I love it, but I haven't physically shot a gun in about. I was up at Texas Gun Experience, and I was talking to the guys, and they were like, "Where the hell have you been?" I've been like, "Man, I've been so busy." Um, I haven't been to the range to physically shoot in probably about 2.5 months or 2 months because I've just been so damn busy traveling and all that stuff with the new job. So, I miss it, but it has been a decent break away. I will say that. It's not saying that because shooting is very relaxing for me. Don't take this the wrong way, but it's also been relaxing, not going up and filming a bunch of videos, of shooting and stuff. Now I've got plenty of things to here to keep me busy, and I need to do more videos. Because I've done reviews, I've done kind of a torture test on another optic that I showed. If you want to see which one it is, I'm not going to say the name, but I have it on the community tab. So I have been doing kind of like torture testing it. So that I'll have that out soon, but I want to shoot it first. But it's actually been a little relaxing. Of course, when I get home on the weekends, I'm just beat from freaking traveling. Matter of fact, when I was in Portland, I just logged in, logged out, and stuff like that, so I could kind of document my time. And it was like a 60-hour week last week. So it was crazy. It was like Sunday through Friday afternoon, 60 hours. So I've just been burning the candle at both ends. A Taurus curve, holy crap! Yeah, I remember the curves when they first came out. I haven't seen one of those in 1,000 years. 7.62 by 39 mini action Howa. Yeah, those are nice. Yeah, I mean I've got tons of ammo. CeeLo. I mean that's not an issue. It's just, and hell, I've been paying for my membership and all that stuff with Texas Gun Experience, and they were like, "Man, you're paying it," and I'm like, "Yeah," but I mean I hadn't even been up there. Yeah, and I'm going to Pistol Pete. I went up there the other day just to see everybody and say hi, and I probably could have taken some guns, but I was just like, um, I'm going to do it. It's just been really busy. Also, I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, and I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. My dad is he's got throat cancer, so kind of dealing with that right now. We just found it out. He's been losing a lot of weight, and he was having some problems swallowing and stuff like that. He also has Alzheimer's and dementia, a little bit of that going on. So now we're adding this to it. So, I mean, he's okay as far as we know right now. Um, they had to talk to the doctor about what they were going to do, as far as the radiation and chemo and things like that. Prior to that, they want to do a brain scan and a full throat scan. They got the little specimen or whatever you want to call it, the sample back, and it is cancer. Um, it's kind of common, so I'm not saying this is a do all end all, um, but they want to do a brain scan and a full throat scan to see if it's spread. And so that's going to be coming up, an MRI. I don't know, what it's going to be. I have no idea, but he's in good spirits and everything, but he's lost a lot of weight. He's gone from like 170 something to like 154, kind of quickly. So I don't know. So we'll see. But we'll just have to see. Bu- 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 bu. Also, I did go to my Old Town Meat Market, Choice Meats, and picked up some things there last weekend. I was telling people I kind of got some exotic meats in different cuts that a lot of people might not know about. I got a tri-tip, um, and I've had tri-tip before, but this will be my first time cooking tri-tip. So, there's a certain way I'm going to do it. I'll take y'all along for the ride if you want to check it out on my other channel. So I got tri-tip. I got a picanha. Y'all might not know what a picanha is. It's a Brazilian cut. Um, some people have had it before. Some people don't even know what the hell it is. A lot of people say it's kind of the Goldilocks fillet, but it's got a fat cap on the top. So I'm going to do the fat cap a little differently and prep it a little bit differently. I did pick up some baby back ribs, St. Louis short ribs, actually. I got 2 racks of those. So I'll be preparing those a certain way. Might even do 1 rack one way, 1 rack another way. Also, some sausage. I got the jalapeno. It's jalapeno habanero sausage. They make it there. And he's got a new one, which is a green onion sausage. So it has actually green onion inside of it. I've never had it. I've had his other ones, or their other ones. And I picked up the coarse peppered, what is it called? Coarse peppered hickory sausage, and I've had it before. That's what I had when I did the 30-day whiskey aged steak, and it's amazing. I mean, all of his sausages they make there are amazing. So they make it all in house. Doesn't use the butts and guts. Uses good quality pork and beef, and the good stuff. So they make awesome sausage there. So I'll be cooking those up. It was a pretty big haul. I showed it on the on a little quick short if you wanted to see it. So got that on there. But tri-tip is kind of a big deal, like in California or on the West Coast, and a lot of people call it the poor man's brisket. But and tri-tip and picanha have something in common. They both of them have 3 corners. So they'll have thinner on the ends, thicker in the center. So you've got to really adjust your cooking to be able to cook these, or you'll burn the tips. But there's little tips you can do, like you can foil the ends so they don't cook as fast, just like a brisket. But anyway, so I've got that. I will be dry brining a lot of these items. Some people don't know what dry brining is. As a matter of fact, I talked to somebody today about dry brining. They were asking me how to do it. And what you do is you take your meat, out of the package, you pat it off with paper towels, and then you do the whole thing with kosher salt. So you do the top, the bottom, and the sides. Then you put it on your rack and you put it in your refrigerator for, I do mine up to 24 hours. And what the salt will do, and you can take a shitty piece of steak, like a cheap ass steak, cheap ass brisket, cheap ass pot roast, whatever, and you can dry brine it. And you'll have, like, say you have a piece of meat that big. After you dry brine it, it actually sucks up. So it kind of pulls in the moisture and it'll tighten it up and it'll make your steaks juicier. It will actually retain the moisture inside the meat and it seals it. When you do it, it kind of seals it. So you can char the outside or you can sear the outside, and it always keeps the inside juicy. If you don't brine it, sometimes you'll actually burn the inside of the meat. It tastes like crap. So I'll be doing some dry brining on all of that. I'm a big dry briner. Some people don't, ever do it, but I recommend all beef. I don't care if it's a brisket, whatever it is, dry brining it every single time. You can't go wrong. I even dry brine some sausage, chicken. If you want crispy chicken on the grill, like even wings, dry brine them. They come out even crispier because they hold the moisture in. Um, and I do it for pork chops, tomahawk chops, whatever you want to do. So let's see here. Thank you, Pistol Pete. I appreciate that. Thanks, Floridian. Like I said, I'm not looking for sympathy. I always wish you all the best and your family the best too. Thank you, Pranic. Pistol Pete's taking a break on videos. Um, yeah, brisket used to be the poor man's brisket. No, it's not now. Actually, if you really want to know what the poor man's brisket is, it's not even tri-tip. I'll tell you a little trick. Buy a pot roast or a chuck roast. You can get a chuck roast or a pot roast. Chuck roast are the best. You can take a cheap chuck roast. You can dry brine it. And you can actually grill it, or excuse me, you can smoke it exactly like a brisket, and it will come out amazing. I have done it before. I've shown people how to do it, and you can take a cheap chuck roast, a shitty piece of meat that you have to basically boil forever in a crock pot or whatever, or on the stove, and you can smoke a chuck roast, and they will come out incredible. You can have a really good bark on it. They come out pretty damn good. Arby's. Yeah, don't do the Arby's, but we got the meats. Yeah, I definitely love to cook. It's one thing I've never really shared with y'all until I started that channel, but I've been cooking for forever, and it comes from my dad. So we'll give my dad some kudos. He was always on a barbecue team when I was a kid, so I was running the fire, loading the pit, loading the meat, prepping the meat, trimming the meat. Hell, I was trimming meat when I was freaking like 12 years old with a freaking big ass butcher knife or a trimming knife. Um, helping them do all the briskets. They did. This is back when there used to be the old Astrodome in Houston. This is for the Houstonians. They had the old Astrodome. Used to go to the barbecue cook-offs every year, the big ones in Texas, and it was always at the Astrodome. Competed in brisket, chicken, and ribs. My dad was a hell of a pitmaster. Hell of a pitmaster. I learned a lot from him. I've got little tips and tricks that I've learned over the years, and I'll share them with you as far as what I use for binders, what I use for spritz, for ribs, briskets, I spritz them. So I'll be sharing some of those tips and tricks if you want to. I'm not saying I'm a perfectionist, but I make some pretty damn good barbecue. I've had people tell me that I should be selling my barbecue, but I don't have time for that. So, but I definitely enjoy doing it. It is 8:06, so I'll be jumping off. I don't want to interfere with Chris's chat, but if y'all have, I'll answer this real quick. Question: which brand of pistol ammo does people notice cause squibs? There's not a definite brand. You can get a squib in anything. I've had a squib with Tula. That's the steel cased ammo. I had a squib with it. Now I didn't fire it. I just was like, this isn't right, and it was in a rifle, and I had to knock it out with a the long rifle punch that was in a rifle. It was in a 308. Had an issue with that. I had a Blazer Brass. Had a squib with that, but luckily I was on the last shot. Um, I haven't had any with Federal. Oh, I did have one with a box of reloaded ammo. I can't remember the name of it, but I did a video on it way back when, and it was great ammo. And then I ended up having a squib on it, but I didn't fire one after it. I've never fired one after it, thank God, because y'all have seen me shoot, and I shoot pretty fast. So, but yes, Pistol Pete's right. Any ammo can cause it if it's not, a lot of it is like if it's not, loaded correctly, they underpower it. You can get squibs from it. Thank you, Al. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm definitely pulling for my dad. Hopefully, that's all it is, and they can knock it out with the radiation and get over this, and he'll be good to go. But with the weight loss, they said, yeah, if you have any kind of cancer, you can have weight loss, but his is pretty drastic, so I don't know. But we'll figure this out. Yeah, and that's Pistol Pete. That is, you'll hear the sound like the rifle one went, pew, made this really weird noise, and I was like, what the hell is that? And it was a semi-automatic rifle. It was an AR-10. And when I heard that, I was like, something's not right. And luckily, I broke it down, pulled the bolt out, and then I'm like, trying to look through it. I'm like, whoop, there's no sunlight. So I was like, this is not good. So, but anyway, and then the pistol also something wasn't right too. So, but thank you, AA. I appreciate it. But I'll go ahead and shut this chat down because, like I said, I don't want to step on Chris's toes. I respect the guy, love the guy. I don't want anything like that if y'all want to go over and check him out. But I really appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Sorry I wasn't on last week, just really busy. I will update you on my dad. I'm going to plan on try to cook this weekend. So if that all works out, we'll do some filming on that. If you want to see it, you can check out, Big J's Pit Stop. I appreciate it. If you want to go there and subscribe, if you haven't already. And I'm going to try to catch up on reviews this weekend. I've got a lot of them I need to do. A couple of products that were sent to me are complete dog shit. And I'm going to tell you that they're dog shit. And I'm going to show you the product. I was even thinking of not even doing a review, but these I have shown on the community tab, and I said I'm testing them. Well, a couple of these tests did not go very well, so I'm not afraid to, they were sent free, so it doesn't matter if I paid for it or they were sent to me. I'm going to tell you the honest truth, and two of these are dog shit. So I need to get those reviews up. I also have a company that sent me something. I don't like it. It's a piece of shit, and they're literally harassing the dog shit out of me. First, they told me, hey, we're going to send you this. You can do a review if you want. You don't have to do a review. And it's dog shit, so I wasn't going to do a review. Well, now they're harassing the shit out of me. I mean, they're literally sending me an email like once a week going, well, we sent you this product, and we haven't seen a review. We haven't seen a review. Never, I told them in there, if I like it, I'll do a review. If I don't, nobody's going to hear about it. They were like, that's fine. Well, obviously it's not fine with them. The product was like $500, I think. I'll let you guess what it is. Or it was like $4.95 or something. But yeah, so you're going to hear about it. But anyway, I appreciate y'all so much. Stay tuned. Bring on the dog shit. We all know me. I tell the truth. I don't hide anything. If it's good, I'll tell you. If it's bad, I'll tell you. And I know it's probably going to piss them off, but I don't really give two shits. If they get mad about it, they apparently didn't watch my video, and they were like, oh, we love your videos. We watch them all the time, blah, blah, blah. We want to send you this. So I said, okay, send it. But anyway, I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Love one another. Take care of your families. Tell them you love them because you just never know. And y'all be safe out there. And remember, an unarmed nation is a very weak nation. So we all got to carry on. Take care, everyone.